Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 3 on the Series X, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 4-4. It is entitled Batten Down the Hatches. So if you remember in the last chapter, I mentioned that I was going to be bringing a long shot into this chapter. If you don't have that, it is okay because one of your teammates will have it if you do a restart from the chapter. But sometimes just trying to go up to them and switch a weapon in the middle of a battle is problematic because some of the animations, it won't let you switch into the weapon, and they have a hard time standing still sometimes. So it is helpful to have the long shot for the guys on the troikas. You notice that there's a barge here. It's going to drop off some enemies, and also it will sometimes decide to just fire right at you. So you definitely need to take shelter, and coming into this place is a pretty good spot. But the third-person camera trick that I was talking about, do you remember, like in the beginning of the walkthrough, I mentioned that the third-person camera trick works? I definitely mean to say that it works, but in the most loose sense of that word, because they've definitely adjusted it, and they do not want you doing it. So it works sometimes, but it's very particular, and most of the time they will just cut you off from being able to hit the enemy. So coming into this game, I wasn't sure how much they had manipulated it. Because I think on Gears of War 2 it worked really well, but they've definitely adjusted it, so they want you to be doing a very specific thing in cover. But once the first phase of that fight is done, there's going to be an enemy on the Troika, and they do get replacements too. So this fight is pretty challenging too, and I also decided to, for the Serapede, give myself a boom shot, and oh boy, I'm trying to just go up there and trip the next spawn up there, which is screamers, a boomer, and several of the Theron guards. The fight with the Serapede, I decided to just give my teammates some explosive weapons, because that's what that's what helps a little bit, because it's not required, but it's definitely a good idea to have a boom shot or a torque bow. I decided to have the boom shot for the splash damage potential of it, and there's plenty of weapons all around. So when I do exit this area and go through the door, I'm just gonna have that edited out, and I'll be switching weapons with everybody. And it's a little bit of an awkward encounter, but there's a pretty decent spot to stand. And but if it decides to go over to where you are, any touch of it on you will just kill you. So yes, there's a pretty good spot, but if it does decide to come over to you, there's a pretty big potential that you can get killed outright. And the checkpoint is pretty crummy because you have to just run all the way back to it. I don't particularly care for it, but yeah, it is aggravating, the third person camera trick. And yeah, okay, for the Serapede, there might be multiple ones of them. I can't be sure what it is exactly, but there is a good way to protect yourself. You can tag grenades to the area where we're gonna set it off, and the incendiaries are pretty good too, to stave off potential damage that you're going to be getting. So here's the checkpoint over here. Just in a minute, you're going to get another one. So I definitely would recommend having the boom shot and switching. I mean, giving your teammates a better weapon than they potentially will have. Yeah, I don't like this checkpoint because yes, it's right here, but you do have to run all the way over to it and watch a cutscene. So at certain damage thresholds of the Centipede, there's going to be snipers. So anytime you see a Y prompt, you'll want to press that if you need to real quick to locate where they are. But I'll show you where a pretty good spot is to stand. I go over to the left because it's pretty decent, and I put a couple of grenades over here too. I wish you could pick unused ones back up, but it just doesn't happen. So the weak area is the glowing spot on its tail, and you will probably it's up to you if you want to prioritize the snipers. There's one here, and I do a panic shot right there. Really missed big time, but something set off that incendiary. Well, obviously it was the Centipede, but it did set it off. But if that thing decides to come up here, it's very difficult to survive, because if you do outrun it, you're running right into gunfire. So it is a good choice to have whatever explosive weapon you want, right? And then the long shot as well for the snipers. So one of them will spawn over to the right, and then there's one on our side. My teammates decided to fend it off for me, so they did take it out. But there's one over to there, so you're gonna have to take out those two. But it's pretty decent because the teammates do a pretty good job of fending off the Centipede while you can just stay in that pretty decent spot over there, take out the snipers, and then just do what you need to with the Centipede as far as setting off the incendiaries or staying over there. But with power weapons, it shouldn't be that huge of a problem, but it's challenging, and the checkpoint is poor. So anyway, that is 4-4, a pretty short chapter, but the next chapter is quite long, and it has an arguably more difficult part with Centipedes, and I will see you there. So until then, please take care.